Donald Trump has a history of praising foreign dictators such as Vladimir Putin and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, and he ruled in a similar way as many authoritarian leaders around the world. He enriched himself, fueled ethnic divisions, tried to gain personal control over the judiciary and the military, and refused to concede defeat in the 2020 election. It is therefore ironic that he is facing possible criminal charges for his attempts to overturn the election results by an American prosecutor who has extensive experience in prosecuting some of the worst tyrants and war criminals in the world. Hello and a very warm welcome to American People Daily Updates YouTube channel. Jack Smith, the Justice Department Special Counsel, who has already charged Mr. Trump with illegally keeping secret documents and obstructing justice, is a veteran federal prosecutor who has worked in Tennessee, New York, and Washington. He also has a unique expertise from working as an international war crimes prosecutor, first at the International Criminal Court and then at a special tribunal for investigating war crimes in Kosovo. For several years in The Hague, he was in charge of investigating foreign officials and militia members who were accused of war crimes, crimes against humanity and genocide. Smith's investigation of Trump reflects two conflicting views of national and international justice. One is the noble idea that even presidents and prime ministers are accountable to the law. The other is the reality that such powerful leaders can try to escape justice by denouncing it as a fraud and mobilizing their supporters, threatening chaos and violence. These tensions have shaped the history of international war crimes trials. They marked Mr. Smith's achievements in court. They are already evident in Mr. Trump's efforts to undermine the rule of law. The ideals of justice go back to the post-World War II period, when the United States supported two international military tribunals held at Nuremberg and Tokyo, which put senior German and Japanese leaders on trial for aggression, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Henry Stimson, the U.S. Secretary of War, privately urged Franklin Delano Roosevelt that even Nazi war criminals should be given a fair procedure that included at least the basic rights of the Bill of Rights. Both the Nuremberg and Tokyo trials convicted senior leaders for atrocities committed while in office, treating their actions not as state acts but as personal crimes punishable by law. After the Cold War, these principles of legal punishment for the world's worst criminals were revived with United Nations tribunals for the former Yugoslavia and Rwanda, as well as special courts for East Timor, Sierra Leone, and others. Smith followed the principle of individual criminal responsibility as the prosecutor for the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, which was established under US and European pressure to investigate war crimes and crimes against humanity from 1998 to 2000 related to Kosovo's independence movement from Serbia. Although part of Kosovo's legal system, the institution is based in The Hague and staffed by international judges and personnel, which is how Mr. Smith, a US citizen, became its specialist prosecutor. In June 2020, his office announced that it was seeking to indict Hashim Thaçi, then Kosovo's popular president, who was on his way to the White House for a summit with Serbia convened by the Trump administration. Mr. Thaçi, a former Kosovo Liberation Army rebel leader, returned home, later resigning as president and being detained in The Hague to face several counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity in an ongoing trial that could last for years. Remember to subscribe to American People Daily Updates YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell. This way you will be notified when we drop a video. Prosecuting national leaders who have some popularity among their people is always hard and risky. Smart dictators will often ask for amnesty as a condition for giving up power, which is why a secret impunity, like the one granted to Chile's General Augusto Pinochet by his military regime in 1978, is more common than dramatic trials like Nuremberg or Tokyo. To impose justice on Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, the Allies had to insist on a harsh policy of unconditional surrender, which meant that German and Japanese war criminals could not bargain for their own lives. Even so, the Truman administration secretly broke that promise of unconditional surrender for Emperor Hirohito, fearing that the Japanese might keep fighting if he was tried as a war criminal. The Truman administration left the emperor untouched in the imperial palace while his prime ministers and generals were tried and convicted by an Allied international military tribunal in Tokyo. Smith also worked as the investigation coordinator in the prosecutor's office at the International Criminal Court, the permanent international war crimes court based in The Hague, from 2008 to 2010. The ICC has 123 member countries from Afghanistan to Zambia, but the Trump administration hated it. Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, said he wanted it to die on its own, while his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, called it a rogue, illegal, so-called court. Anyone working at the ICC knows how limited and weak the court actually is. In 2009 and 2010, the ICC issued arrest warrants for Sudan's president, Omar Hassan al-Bashir, charging him with war crimes, crimes against humanity and genocide in Darfur. He is still free, even after being overthrown. When a prominent Kenyan politician, Uhuru Kenyatta, was charged with crimes against humanity after ethnic violence following his country's 2007 presidential election, he denounced the ICC as a neo-colonial attack on Kenya's sovereignty. In 2013, he was narrowly elected president of Kenya. In 2014, the ICC prosecutor dropped the charges against Mr. Kenyatta, complaining that Kenya's government had blocked evidence and intimidated witnesses. From Kenya to Kosovo, Smith probably knows very well how an indicted politician can rally his supporters to resist and obstruct a prosecution. When Thas's trial started in The Hague in April, some Kosovars protested in support of a leader they saw as a heroic rebel fighter against Serbian oppression. Mr. Smith's office has accused Mr. Thasi and other suspects of trying to hinder and undermine the work of prosecutors, as well as convicting 2 supporters of the Kosovo Liberation Army for leaking files stolen from the office. Trump is already following a similar strategy of defiance and intimidation, even though he is facing not an international court but the laws of the United States. He has compared the FBI agents investigating him to the Gestapo, insulted Mr. Smith as crazy, and crudely warned on an Iowa radio show that it would be very dangerous to imprison him, since he has a very passionate group of voters. But Trump will find that Smith has dealt with him, and worse, before. The American prosecutor is well prepared to pursue the vision of a predecessor, Robert Jackson, the brilliant Supreme Court justice who served as the U.S. chief prosecutor at Nuremberg, who declared in his opening speech there, "Civilization asks whether law is so slow as to be completely helpless to deal with crimes of this magnitude by criminals of this order of importance." Remember to subscribe to American People Daily Updates YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell. This way you will be notified when we drop a video. Stay safe.